DJ Alessandrini here. We're providing another weekly reference lap for the Grid Life iRacer League. This week it's the Miata on Donington Park. So we're going to check out the reference lap. This is the best time I could put together in default weather at Donington in the Miata. And after we watch the reference lap, we're going to check out some data from Brad Adams and try to help him with some input to pick up the pace a little bit. And in doing so, hoping that I help a couple of you out as well. So we're going to jump right into it. And I'll shut up and we'll just watch this. And later in the video, I'm sure we'll be referencing this to help explain some things in the data. So, all right, turn one. All right, so that was an 18.671 on Donington. And this is me and Brad Adams. Same conditions for the most part, same setup. We're using the VRS setup for the Miata. And we're going to see where Brad's missing time. He did a 119, a 119.949. So he has 1.3 seconds to find. To come catch me. Okay, so we're jumping into turn one. We're not really going to look at the front straight. It's a pretty short front straight, and also I don't know how to tell somebody just to be faster in the beginning of the lap. Okay, all right. Right away, looks like I get a 1/10.5 on him just in this turn alone. So turn one, you're really just focusing on the exit speed, and just judging from the top right here. Which is your speed to distance graph. It looks like Brad comes in a little hotter than me. So he actually makes a little time on me right in the beginning. But it looks like I'm able to get in throttle a little sooner and I brake a little less. So my min speed is a little higher, but by getting the throttle sooner, I actually hold more speed leaving the corner. So in the way that happens is it looks like Brad's just braking a tad later, indicated by the brake trace here and by the speed chart up here. So it looks to me like Brad just came into this corner a little hot, and the car was probably perfectly on the limit, but it delayed when he could get on throttle, and so his exit speed, it cost him, and it actually cost him more than a 1/10.5 because turn 2 and 3 are basically a straightaway for the Miata on this track. You're not lifting, you're just carving distance and minimizing scrub with the front tires. So, like right here, I just have a speed advantage for him, from him. So that's a 3.5 tenths mistake there for Brad, just coming in a little hot into turn one. And that's a great thing about the Miata, is it really punishes you for that. So Brad had told me earlier he was struggling with turn 4. But honestly, it doesn't look too bad, but it looks like it's kind of the same deal where he comes in just a tad too hot. Like, that is such a minuscule amount hot. But you see what it does. It really impacts his exit speed. And through 4, this is the hill, the turn at the bottom of the hill here, the right-hander. It's real tricky. In this turn itself, just the way that VRS sections this thing, you only lost a 0.5 tenth. But 5 and 6, that's flat out. You're not braking or anything. So whatever speed you pull out of 4 is just going to add all the way through here. So you'll see that coming in a little too hot to turn 4 actually lost Brad 2/10. So now he's a little bit more than a half a second behind me, and we're at turn 6 at this point. So yeah, just a tad too hot. This corner is real tricky. You want to kind of get the braking done a little earlier, and you kind of just pivot the car in toward the curbing and just try to roll a lot of speed out of it, just because you're moving uphill and you're not really going to gain much more speed. Okay, turn 7. That is the right-hander toward the top of the hill after the super long left. And here it doesn't look like Brad bombed in too fast. He only lost a 10th here. But it looks like he probably just overslowed a little bit, and then was a little on-off on the throttle. Yeah, that's what indicated right here. So that just impacted his exit speed just a tad. The turn 7's real tricky. We'll go back to the reference lap in a second to take a look at that and kind of explain what I'm trying to do or looking for. And then turn 8, it's the same thing. This is the corner. This is at the very top of the hill, and it's right-hander. You can't really see the apex as you commit into it, but you just want to roll as much speed as you can into that, and you want to get the turn in earlier than you think you can, and let the car trail out. I think that's the biggest thing is letting the car trail out, because you don't want to be scrubbing the front tires, just trying to not stay off the curb or cut distance or whatever, because the straightaway after turn 8 is the longest straight on the racetrack. So any speed advantage you hold through that straightaway is obviously going to provide some time there, but also it's one of the best passing opportunities on the racetrack, and Donington's pretty tough to pass on. So yeah, through this corner, just holding a little bit more entry speed and coming out a little faster is about a 1/10.5 gain on Brad here. So all right, we're jumping over to the chicane now. The chicane's super tricky, and it looks like once again Brad came in a little hot into the chicane, so it really impacted his exit speed. Yeah, about 5 miles an hour slower than me coming out of this. And also looking at the GPS trace over here, it looks like he's not using all of the track on exit. You can basically dip your right tires in the dirt that's on the right side of the track. We'll check that out in a second. And it won't be an off track, but you really want to use all of that track leaving that chicane. And I'll explain kind of what I'm looking at in a second here. And then again, just that speed advantage just carries into the straightaway. And yeah, that's 1.3 seconds gained on Brad at Donington. So really just Brad has to just tidy up the braking and not bomb so hard in the corners, and just really focus on rolling a lot of speed out of the corners, and he'll see a immediate time improvement. Okay, we're jumping back over to the video here. And I'm going to kind of explain the couple things that I had there. So turn 1, again, you just want to roll a lot of speed out of there, because it's basically a straightaway till the turn 4 at the bottom of the hill. Turn 1, we're just trying to get a lot of speed leaving this corner. All the track, you can even put your tires on the left concrete there. And now you're cutting distance. Cutting distance. Real smooth here, the car gets light. And then here we're focusing on just rolling through this corner with a lot of speed, using all the track. You can clip the dirt on the inside here. You can touch the dirt a little bit on the outside. You want to use all the track here on the left to open up that radius as much as possible, because like I said, it's just what really matters here is the speed leaving the corner. So clipping the dirt a little bit on the inside. Let the car trail out. You can clip the dirt just a tiny bit out here before it's an off track. And then this long left-hander up the hill, we're just minimizing tire scrub. We're just trying to let the mile per hours of the car build as much as they can, because any extra little tick on the mile per hour marker here is a little couple extra little bit of time there. So minimizing tire scrub, and then up here we want to be to the left as much as we can on the track, and then basically once this line starts to curve in, that's kind of when I turn in. I want to clip the inside curbing here, about where the mouse is right here. You can't really see it, but it's basically where the hill lines up with this curbing, just out of view. That's what I'm trying to clip, and I'm trying to be in power early because, again, I just want to roll a lot of speed out of this, and the car floats around this corner nicely. And here's the biggest tip on this corner is you want to let the car track way out. The off track here is super generous. You can put the left tires all the way on this. It looks like dirt, but that's a little that's like a dirty concrete slab, and you can put your tires all over this. See, this is a better view of it. It's a little concrete slab right there, and you can drive all over that before you get an off track. So use every little inch of that, and you'll increase your speed rolling out of that corner. And then same thing up here. We're getting as far to track left as possible, almost touching the grass, but don't touch the grass. So you'll go for a spin, and you're turning in before you know where the apex is here. And it's kind of like a feel thing for the corner, but really you're turning in as the hill's starting to level out into where you could see the track. So you want the car set and turning in as the hill flattens out from your perspective in the car. I think that's the best place to start you off with, and then you can build a feel from after that. So you see as the hill levels out and the apex just becomes visible, the car is already set, and it's already starting to flick into the turn. And we really just want to roll a lot of speed past this curbing, and we have all this track out here to help figure it out afterwards. And you just let the car trail out. I could be pinching up the car more and bringing it inside, but then I'm scrubbing the speed, and we want that speed down this entire straightaway. So just let the car wash out. You know you did this well when you enter the curbing right when it starts, and you use every little bit of it, and the car just kind of trails out there. And VLC, stop doing VLC things. Okay, there we go. You let the car trail all the way to the edge of that curbing there. So with the chicane up here, the braking zone's a little tricky, and it really changes depending on the track conditions and the temperature. But generally, I kind of wait till I'm past this hill. Maybe you could use this guardrail here as a brake marker. You might be able to use the bulk of the tire marks right here as a brake marker. This is a tough braking zone because there's not a lot of references. But I think I use the bulk of the brake markers. I wait till it's basically at my door. Depending on the conditions, you might brake when this leaves your peripheral. But basically, sometime after this hill starts cresting down is when you'll get the brakes. And the thing to focus on here is really just taking a good chunk of this right side curbing. Then it opens this up, and you're able to get on power. And you can drive across this curbing, but don't let the left side tires go up on the curbing, down into this gap, and then back over the curbing. It will really upset the car, and you'll have a tricky save afterwards. But you can drive over the top of them. The car really doesn't care about that. And this is what I was talking about with Brad. He's not letting the car track out all the way. And see how there's dirt here? That's from people dropping tires in. And it's perfectly fine to just drop a little bit of tire into that, and it won't be an off track. All right. Well, hopefully that video is as brief as I could make it, and if that helped you, feel free to jump in next week and provide your data for me, and we'll see if we can help you get faster and help make the community faster as well. All right. See you on Tuesday.